I suppose if you had to think of one characteristic that was the single most important thing an architect could bring to a project, it would be perhaps summarised as skill. And that's skill in a whole lot of areas, not just skill at design, but technical skill around construction issues. Skill at communications, enormously important, because you really are part of a team. You have to communicate with the clients, you have to communicate with the city council and other bureaucratic organisations, and then you have to communicate with the builder and all the sub-trades and the consultants that might be working on a job. So skill at every level is hugely important. But as well as that, I think it's important that an architect is known for an individual and original approach to each specific job, each specific client, each particular site. It's an original approach. And of course, you've got to have passion. And an architect really understands the whole structure of a program right from the very beginning, from pre-design, when you're first thinking about the site and what the soil conditions are and what the district plan is, right through to the finer details of the finished product. So right through to what your kitchen might be like and what tiles you want in the bathroom, and we can really work with you all the way through that, and that's what we enjoy doing. We really like to start at the beginning and go right through to the very end. We always find that the first meeting is really great for drawing out a whole lot of information, so you don't need to be too well prepared for that. We'll talk to you about what spaces you want, we'll talk to you about how they relate to each other, we'll talk to you about your requirements, but it's really good if you have had a chance to talk together, so you as a couple, you as a family, you as whoever's going to be using this house, if you talk together and you discover what your vision is, so that we can then talk about that together on the day. And the last thing we want is for you to try and design it yourself, because that's what we're good at and we really like to do that ourselves. But if you've worked out what your vision is and your budget, so that we can discuss whether your budget is realistic against your aspirations, that's absolutely brilliant. Sometimes clients do come along with pictures from magazines, which can be really successful because they're not necessarily saying this is the house I want, or this is the room I want, or this is the kitchen I want. They've really ripped these pictures out because there's something about that picture that appealed to them. And so we can look at the pictures together and we can say, what is it about that picture? What really made you think that that picture was going to be something that you wanted to develop? And it could be the light, it could be the sunshine, it could be heritage detailing, and that starts to give us a clue, because everyone's different, about what kind of thing's going to appeal to you. A lot of what we talk about is what the role of the architect is. So we tell you all the various stages of what an architect's services could be, starting from pre-design and working right through design, develop design, and into administration of the contract, if that's what you'd like. And we'll talk to you a sort of rough order of what those fees might be. We tend not to give you exact fees at that stage because we haven't really thought about what your project is. We need to go away, sit down, think about your exact project, write out the brief and really understand it, and then we'll come back to you with a written fee proposal which will explain to you exactly what the fees are for each stage and when you can expect to pay that. Having a client who's engaged in the idea, who's open, who's enthusiastic, who is prepared to consider new ideas, really makes the project exciting for us. And it really doesn't matter about the scale. It can be a new kitchen and outdoor room, or it can be a multi-million-dollar house on a spectacular cliff-top site. If the client is passionate about what they're doing, and if you have a shared vision with them that you're working towards, that makes the ideal project as well. And the single most important thing that a client can bring to a relationship is a mindset, a positive, open, optimistic mindset where they're prepared to engage all the time with new ideas and be excited about the process. And it's always really good to discuss the budget at that stage. I mean, it's good to get that out in the open at the beginning, and don't cut it in half because you've been told that architects always double your budget. I mean, actually tell us what the budget is and what you're hoping to spend, and give us a good chance of trying to keep it there. If we think your budget's unrealistic, if you've explained to us the kind of house you want and the number of rooms you want, we'll be able to tell quite quickly from our experience whether your aspirations are unrealistic at that early stage. So it's best to have a reality check early on.